What's up, good people, and welcome back to my channel where we bond over our favorite TV shows, trending topics, and everything in between that we care about. So today I am back with an update of the Wendy Williams latest saga of her son Kevin Jr. being evicted. And what I didn't realize was that there was more to the story, more details to the story that were out that I wasn't aware of at the time that I did the story. And so I wanted to double back when I heard this information. And I kind of speculated a little bit in the last video about what really was Kevin Jr. up to, and were his actions the catalyst for getting Wells Fargo or bringing up a red flag for Wells Fargo to look into taking conservatorship over Wendy Williams' finances. And so, according to Radar Online and SandraRose.com, Kevin Jr., son of Wendy Williams, writes an emotional letter to eviction judge. And he's quoted as saying, I signed the lease on my mom's behalf. So, so what they're saying is that he wrote an emotional letter to the judge handling his eviction for the $2 million Miami apartment that he was evicted from. Kevin Jr., 22, was hit with an eviction notice in August after he fell behind $70,000 in back rent. It says, according to the U.S. Sun, a copy of Kevin Jr.'s lease shows Wendy paid a security deposit and a full year of rent in advance, more than $100,000 in 2021. So it says, according to Radar Online, Kevin Jr. was sued for the eviction by the real estate company, and Kevin's lease expired in February, but he agreed to continue paying monthly rent. He told the judge he signed his mother's name on the lease because she was having health problems. So for me, and it's quoted as saying, at her request, I signed the original lease on her behalf, he claimed. All right. So now we have a clearer picture of what was happening months ago when there was rumor that Kevin Jr. had taken $100,000 for his mom from his mom, and that she also basically wasn't letting him up, and she wasn't talking to him, wasn't letting him up to her apartment, etc. And I was trying to get benefit of the doubt, like, maybe they're trying to make it like he might have done something wrong, to try to get this conservatorship. But in all actuality, allegedly, what it looks like is that his act of, while his mom was not well, doing something that pretty much the bank knew, or her advisor at the time knew that she would not be okay with, and especially as far as Kevin Jr. living in a $2 million apartment value costing $100,000 a year in rent. It was obvious to people, obviously, that Wendy wouldn't be down with it. Now, originally in a previous video I did, I thought that this apartment was in New York somewhere. And I wasn't thinking about all the connecting pieces, like the fact that he is in Florida, but I was assuming with that amount that it was in New York. So I was like, it's very expensive to live in New York. I'm very aware of that. But when you find out that it's Miami, he could have definitely gotten something pretty nice without it being as expensive as what he ended up with. So in the article, it goes on to say tenants in the process of being evicted are often encouraged to write letters to the judge to buy themselves more time. So it looks like this is what Kevin Jr. did. He wrote this letter to the judge. Thankfully, he did, because it gives us insight, because we got this stuff in his own words. So it says, according to Radar Online, reported that Kevin did just that by writing an emotional letter to the court explaining his dire financial situation. So let's get into what Kevin wrote to the judge. We have it here. This is good, y'all. This is good. So it says, it's numbered 1 through 13. So number 1 says, My name is Kevin Samuel Hunter. I didn't know that. His middle name was Samuel. Kevin Samuel Hunter. So he then gives his date of birth, which is August 18th of 2000. Then he goes on to say, I'm a full-time student at Florida International University. Well, he's saying that here, but then he admitted in the other article we read last time that he had taken a year off from school. So he's not a full-time student. He's just a slub living in a $2 million apartment with no job and and not achieving an education. He says, I've been residing at, and he gives the address, since about March of 2021. And then he goes on to say, when I moved in, my mom, Wendy Hunter, rented the apartment for me, paying for a full year plus security deposit up front, with her intent being to purchase it at the end of the lease. Interesting. So this is interesting. Okay, so he's saying that Wendy Williams was going to purchase a $2 million. Wasn't her house like valued at the house she sold in Jersey? I think it was in Jersey that she had with Kelvin, the father, Kevin Sr. Wasn't that like valued at somewhere around $2 million? Why would she buy her son an apartment that's valued at the same or nearly the same as her? Because her house wasn't that expensive. I mean, relatively for some of y'all, that's a lot of money. For some of us, I should say, that's a lot of money. But it wasn't like, a $5-10 million house or anything. So um that's very interesting. This is got me looking side-eye at this. Like, what is going on? Anyway, he says, at her request, I signed the original lease on her behalf. Sounds like forgery to me. Sounds like forgery. What? Did he have a notary? Did he have a notary? I think we need to know this. It says, as the lease approached the end, my mom went through some health issues that put the court in control of her finances. It says, all of this happened suddenly, and all of the financial support that she always gave me stopped, including my housing. Now, this is the part I'm like, wow. So, like, how is he surviving? Because if all of her support stopped, that means, I don't know if he had a leased car or, car notes of some sort. How is he handling food? Well, and shelter now becomes a question, but his father's around. Well, his father broke too. Like Kevin Sr. tell her, he broke too because he ain't getting his money. It says, my education is paid through a 529 education plan that my mom set up, but can only be released with the court's approval. And then he goes on to say, I had a pause in my education for a full academic year because of COVID and the care of my mom. So he has a 529 education plan. So that means that there is money saved for his education. It looks like the issue may be that now he has to rely on the court to release the funds, meaning her conservatorship, to release the funds that he needs to continue with school. It's a lot. It's a lot, y'all. It says, even though my name is on the lease, my mom was paying. And for medical and legal reasons, she has not been able to pay the rent for the past month since the 1-year lease ended, and the court has control over her finances. So yeah, he's talking about the conservatorship when he's saying the court. So it says, everything happened very quickly and unexpectedly, and I had no idea things would end up like this. A lot of us did. It says, the funds to pay the arrears will be available and hopefully accessed through the court soon. I don't know about this, buddy. Then he goes on to say, there's also approximately $20,000 from the security deposit that can be applied to the arrears. I know I need to move, and I'm ready to do that within 7 days. So the article then, so we got, okay, so we got that. So this was actually more detailed, and I see that the article I read before just took little glimpses from this, but now we have the full 13 bullet points of a statement from Kevin Jr. himself explaining his position in this, his version of what is happening in this. Like, take it with a grain of salt. I don't know. I really would love Wendy to be in her right mind right now to really let us know like what really is going on with this situation, because it sounds a little fish. I mean, I would be with it if he said, because celebrities will rent. There's some tax, benefits in them doing some of that stuff. So there's no telling why she would have rented if the intention was to purchase it in the first place, and she has millions. But the fact that it's a $2 million condo in Miami, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't see Wendy doing that for for her son. I don't see that. I don't know. I don't know Wendy like that, but I don't know. So anyway, y'all let me know below in the comments what y'all think. So it says Wendy 58 reportedly cut Kevin Jr. off financially amid reports that he drained her bank accounts to finance his lavish lifestyle in Miami. And it says Wells Fargo froze her accounts in January amid suspicions that she was being financially exploited and suffered from dementia. It says the judge appointed a guardian to protect her finances. And it says after her accounts were frozen, Kevin Jr.'s bills began to pile up. Apparently, he and his father, Kevin Sr., don't have jobs to support themselves. Kevin Sr. is also hurting for money. We talked about that too, with him trying to get, because they stopped his alimony check, and he's not getting his severance from the show, etc. And so he's re-upping, going to the courts like, hey, please give me money. I'm about to lose my house. So this is really interesting, but it was also saying that I think it was something else I was reading that it was alleging that Kevin Jr.'s friends were even saying that he had been taking advantage of his mom. And this is just what we're hearing about this apartment. The article is saying that, she cut him off amid him draining her bank accounts to finance his lavish Miami lifestyle. So to me, that says that there's probably a lot more as it pertains to the expenses. And this picture that I'm gonna put up. Oh, I ain't been putting up no pictures. I'll put them up post after the edit. But this picture here, we see here, this dude, I mean, this watch he got on is very expensive. You can tell it's probably, $50,000, $100,000 watch or something. So he probably gets it honestly from his father. His father, flosses like that too. Father, driving around in Bentley trucks and Rolls Royces and all that kind of stuff, and buying his mistress or leasing Ferraris for his mistress and all of that stuff. So he got it honestly. Apple don't fall too far from the tree, obviously. Allegedly. So I just wanted to bring this story to you guys real quick to give an update, because this was a piece of the story that I wasn't 100% privy to. I missed it some kind of way, and just wanted to make sure that we're informed over here. So with that, please like this video to help us grow. Subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, until I upload the next video, make sure to take care and be blessed. Peace.
Hey, poppin' like I'm supposed to. Watch out for the people that ain't close to. Speak a little something you could toast to. I ain't tryna hear about what you won't do. Moving like I'm into. Hit the ground running like the rain do. Speak a little something that you're into. I ain't tryna hear about what you been through. Like hold up, say what's the hold up. I got the pack, who got the roll up? I'm tryna pull up. It seem like every time I show up, it gotta go up. See the drip, they see the glow up. Oh, now they know us. See, it's funny how my pockets out of shape, but I'm fit for the flex. Clear the phone call, hit my chick with a text. Parlay through the bird with my drip from the jets. Save a couple hundred by your with the rest.